Hi, I'm Debbie Hall, and on New Year's Eve, I was honored to attend the first annual Emerald Dream Ball being held at the Rio All-Suite Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, this was a red carpet, black tie event, and it was designed to pay tribute to 13 carefully selected breast cancer survivors. It was a nationwide search. They were all flown into Las Vegas for makeovers for this wonderful party, which started with a cocktail hour, a show, a 17-course Russian dinner we'll talk about later, as well as a Russian breakfast being offered at 5 a.m. Now, some of the celebrities in attendance included Ian Ziering, Omarosa, Melissa Gilbert, Allison Sweeney, Chris Judd, William Romero, and Ion Vegas, Michael Politz. Our host for the evening was Frank Marino, who is the Joan Rivers impersonator for the long-running show La Cage at the Riviera. He introduced the winners, he hosted the live show, and he kept the evening going. Now, in honor of this wonderful event, let's talk a little bit about Russian cuisine, caviar, and artisan bread. Now, Russia is mainly a northern country with a very long-lasting cold winter, so a Russian diet really relies more on carbohydrates and fat rather than proteins, and unfortunately, very few fresh fruits and vegetables are used in a Russian cuisine. Now, Russians like to eat family style, and there's really about 5 components to a Russian meal. They include potato, bread, eggs, meat, and butter. Now, the bread could be artisan bread, which I'll talk about later on. Potatoes are boiled, fried, or baked. Eggs are boiled or fried. Usually the meat is either a pork or beef, and it's a chop or a steak. And butter is used in all meals, and they're spread on the bread. Now, also as part of Russian cuisine, along with it being family style, it's very important to offer an appetizer. And this is one of the points that cabbage can be used, which is a vegetable. Soup is very important to a Russian meal, and most Russians will look at you very strangely if you don't offer soup as a first course. Then you have your main course, which is your meat dish. You have your garnishes and dressings, which is usually your potatoes, and then Russian desserts, because Russians have a sweet tooth. Now, something that was offered during the Emerald Dream Ball was all the caviar you could eat. So what is caviar? Well, caviar is fish roe or fish eggs. It's sieved to remove the fatty tissues and membrane, and then it's lightly salted with a non-iodized salt. Now, this is an old preserving method, but it's still very effective and used today. All female fish lay eggs for reproduction. All fish have roe or eggs. However, not all fish roe is suitable or even considered to be caviar. By most definitions, and to a purist, true caviar comes from sturgeon, and only sturgeon. The sturgeon is a saltwater anadromous fish, which means it moves to fresh water to spawn, and it makes its home in the Black and Caspian Seas between Europe and Asia, also in the Pacific Northwest and southern Atlantic coast in the United States. Now, sturgeon can grow to over 3,000 pounds, but usually it weighs about 60 pounds, and the flesh of the fish, as well as its eggs, are really considered quite delicious. Now, the most prized caviar comes from beluga, Austria, or Sevruga varieties of sturgeon. And nowadays you can also find caviar in other fish varieties, including salmon, lumpfish, and tuna. So there's a little bit about caviar. Now, what is artisan bread? Very important to a Russian diet. Artisan bread is best described by thinking about the person who makes the bread. An artisan baker is a craftsperson who is trained in the highest ability to mix, ferment, and bake a handcrafted loaf of bread. They understand the science between chemical reactions of the ingredients, and they know how to provide the best environment for a bread to rise. Now, you can compare an artisan baker to other craftspersons as a jeweler, glassblower, or furniture maker. Now, how can you tell a true handcrafted loaf of bread from one that's just called artisan? You need to look at the ingredients. Now, there shouldn't be anything in the bread besides flour, water, salt, and yeast. If the bread is made with a sourdough, there might not even be yeast in the ingredients. Flavored breads may list other recognizable ingredients like nuts, garlic, herbs, or cheese. And for example, a brioche might include milk, butter, or eggs. But all the ingredients should sound like familiar foods. Remember, buying one of the most basic foods there is bread. And according to artisan bakers, it's not necessary to add chemicals to bread because they didn't do it for centuries and they don't see why you need to do it now. Also, artisan bread is considered like a fine wine or cheese. The fermentation is controlled for the yeast. The action of the natural bacteria can produce anything from a light, delicate flavor to a deep, strong, rustic flavor. And so artisan bread is paired, believe it or not, with fine wine, refined alcohol or particular butter or particular jam. That is artisan bread. It's a love of Russians. Russians love their bread, and so a true Russian meal, you'll have artisan bread. This meal was just incredible, and we need to thank Larissa Goldenberg. She's the event planner as well as an accredited bridal consultant. She was the one who selected the menu, had the chefs, had all the other support staff, brought it all together, and it was a sit-down meal for over 500 guests. And I spoke with her not only about the menu, but doing an event such as this.
So let's talk a little bit about the menu and some of the entrees and some of the selections.
Well, the menu was designed, three of us together, Lana, Fuchs, me, and a fabulous chef. His name is George Bargison, who's executive chef for Rio All Suites Hotel. It took us probably between 4 to 5 hours just to design the menu. And the menu was almost 17 courses, probably the best that any restaurant, high-class restaurant can offer today. We decided to have 4 different groups, which is meat, fish, obviously bar, and dessert, which was handmade and out of spun sugar that has our logo, which was kind of unusual. Also very hard work and a long, tedious work to design that, to do that to begin with. That was the reason that Lana Fuchs actually came up with the idea. She wanted to have a really extensive meal because we were planning to have the event till 7 o'clock in the morning. Also, the bread was an artisan selection. It was between 6 to 7 different selections like cranberry walnut, Kalamata olive, bacon cheddar, flavors that complemented the whole meal. So it was very carefully selected by the chef to complement the whole meal, which is 17 courses is not an easy meal to serve.
No, it's not. And the caviar was flowing. Let's talk a little bit about the caviar, which was incredible.
Oh, yes, it was actually 40 pounds of caviar that I shipped it overnight to Las Vegas. We have, on the average, probably about a pound of caviar for each table served at the event.
Then you have this sit-down dinner, for 500 people. You have a live show going on while we're eating. Along with this, it's being filmed for a documentary. So, Larissa, you had your hands full.
Yeah, those, probably, to be honest with you, it was over 105 vendors for that event.
Oh, yeah.
It was not an easy event to do, but it was very personal for me because I'm also a breast cancer survivor.
How many chefs and sous chefs and were involved in the preparation of this huge meal?
To be honest with you, I think between 40 and 50 people.
Oh, yeah.
Just the waiters, we had over a 70-people crew.
Yes, yes.
Never mind bartenders and stewards and everything else. Quite an event.
We need to mention the alcohol, the martinis, fine alcohol at everybody's table.
So martini was flown in from Massachusetts. As a matter of fact, it's a company called Steering, and they provide the natural mixes for the martinis, which involves only 2 ingredients, their mixes and the vodkas. And that's what the flavors and the aromas were actually corresponding with the taste of each martini. That's what made a huge difference, obviously. People love the martinis.
Everybody, my guest today, Larissa Goldenberg. She was the event planner for the Emerald Dream Ball, and there'll be other balls. Larissa, you obviously have a global clientele. What is your website?
It's designedbylarissa.com.
And that will be up on our website as well. And we look forward to covering your next event. And Larissa, thank you for taking time to talking with Celebrity Chef Connection.
Giving me an opportunity to discuss our menu with us.
Thank you.